The Mig-23 Flogger is a variable swept-wing fighter aircraft designed by Mikhail Gurevich Design Bureau in Soviet Union, entered service in 1970. Mig-23 Flogger is the first Soviet fighter jet with look-down shoot-down radar and beyond visual range missile. Though designed to compete American-made F-15 or F-16 multi-role fighter jet, early models of Soviet MiG-23s are awfully bad in maneuverability, engine power and armaments. Alongside Warsaw Pact countries and Soviet Union, many Soviet allied countries like Cuba, North Korea, Syria, Iraq, Libya or Angola received MiG-23 shipments from Soviet Union as military aid between 1975 to 1982. All early shortcomings of MiG-23 Flogger are somehow replaced in 1979. The aircraft enjoys some important features over more costly and complex Western-made fighter jets, which include faster turn ratio, agility and capable to operate from short-length or makeshift runways, a laser rangefinder, TV camera and chaff dispenser. Later add-on the aircraft make the MiG-23 to challenge Western-made more modern fighter jets like F-14 or F-15. Between the main three Soviet Middle Eastern allies, Iraq used its MiG-23 Flogger most successfully, and Iraqi MiG-23 even to shot down American-made Irani F-4E or F-5E aircrafts, as well shot down fourth-generation American-made Irani F-14 Tomcat fighter jet during Iran-Iraq War. After Iraq, Libya, the second Soviet allied country, used its MiG-23 Flogger most successfully. However, Syria, the second most important Soviet ally in Middle East, enjoyed bad records for its MiG-23 Flogger aircrafts due to use of bad strategy and tactics, which resulted high losses for Syrian MiG-23 against Israeli fourth-generation F-15 or F-16 fighter jets. While the worst performance of Syrian MiG-23 against Israeli F-15 and F-16 were repeatedly highlighted by Western media and military analysts, the Soviet fighter jet performed best against South African French-made Mirage F1C during Angolan Civil War. Angola received its first batch of MiG-23 Flogger from Soviet Union in 1975. The country's Air Force pilots were trained by Cuban Air Force pilots, and often Angolan MiG-23s were piloted by Cuban pilots too. On the other hand, South Africa received its Mirage F1C third-generation aircrafts from France in 1971 to replace its older Mirage 3 fighter jets. However, an UN arms embargo against the country in 1977 led the country to manufacture unlicensed copies of Mirage F1C locally. Due to the ongoing arms embargo, South Africa was also unable to replace the spare parts and armaments throughput 1980s to counter modern Angolan Soviet-made MiG-23 Flogger. Angolan MiG-23 MLs operated by Cuban Air Force pilots and South African Mirage F1C often encounters each other during Cuban involvement in Angolan Civil War throughout 1980s. South African Mirage F1CZ is the latest Mirage F1 variant in South African Air Force inventory. It features a Thomson CSF Serrano multimode radar and a mixture of radar altimeter, instrumental landing system, UHF, VHF radio and data link communication system. Due to the ongoing UN arms embargo, South African Mirage F1CZ were mainly armed with its regular 30mm DEFA cannon, older Matra R550 Magic short-range air-to-air missiles and domestic-made V3 Kukri medium-range air-to-air missile. Both South African air-to-air missile has much shorter range than Angolan Soviet-made R-23 medium-range and R-60 short-range air-to-air missile. In late September 1987, a pair of South African Air Force Mirage F1 CZ fighter jets on combat air patrol over South African-occupied Namibia were ambushed by two Angolan Air Force Mig23 ML fighter jets. The first Angolan Mig-23 piloted by Cuban Air Force pilot Alberto Le Rivers engaged the lead South African Mirage F1 CZ piloted by South African Air Force pilot Captain Arthur Douglas Piercy. The Cuban pilot fired a Soviet-made R-23 medium-range missile from his MiG-23 against the South African Mirage F1, while the other Angolan MiG-23, also piloted by another Cuban pilot, fired a R-60 short-range missile against the second South African Mirage F1. However, only the R-23 is successful to home the lead South African Mirage F1 piloted by Captain Piercy and exploded near its tail, while the R-60 lost its guidance. The explosion damaged Captain Piercy's aircraft significantly as his Mirage F1's landing hydraulic and drag chute became disabled. Both South African Mirage F1s were successful to flown back to friendly airspace. However, Captain Pierce's Mirage F1 lost its nose landing gear upon landing, and the ensuing crash landing caused him to be paralyzed for rest of his life. The wreckage of his Mirage F1 aircraft was later used to cannibalize for extending service of other Mirage F1 CZ aircrafts then in service for South African Air Force. Angolan and its Cuban, Soviet allies claimed total 6 victories against South African French-made Mirage F1 CZ aircrafts. Between these 6 victories, Western countries like United States, United Kingdom or France, however, only confirmed 2 and rest are still unconfirmed. Angolan MiG-23 Flogger aircrafts outclassed South African Mirage F1C in engine power, maneuverability or armaments. It was only state-of-the-art class training and good strategy for which South African Mirage F1 CZ aircrafts reduced their shot-down rate during every combat with Angolan MiG-23 Flogger. Though performed best against an underarmed fighter jet, Soviet-made MiG-23 Flogger in Angolan service performed awfully against ground-based anti-aircraft fire. Between 1980 to 1988, several Angolan MiG-23 MLs piloted by Cuban pilots were shot down by rebel UNITA forces in Angola with American-supplied FIM-92 Stinger man-portable air defense missiles. South African Army Air Defense Force also shot down one Angolan MiG-23 Flogger with Istavak 20mm self-propelled anti-aircraft gun near Angola-Namibia border. Due to this shortcoming of MiG-23 Flogger, Soviet government extended the service of MiG-21 Fishbed till 1982, introduced supersonic MiG-25 Foxbat in 1977 and boosted its development work for fourth-generation MiG-29 Fulcrum aircraft since mid-1970s.